Picture this. You're standing in the shadow of the single most anticipated video game ever made by human hands. We're talking GTA 6. The game has been delayed so many times that grandkids of the original fans have started forming book clubs to cope. You work at Rockstar Games. You're literally inside the building where the magic is being made. People would sell both kneecaps on Craigslist just to look at the parking lot. And one day you wake up, you stretch, you sip your tea, and you go, you know what? Nah. I'm gonna leave this whole operation, lock myself in my house for 2 years, and make a game where digital NPCs scream at me for failing to absorb their damage. That actually happened. That is a real human being who walks among us, and honestly, after learning what he made, I'm starting to think this dude might be the most base developer of this entire generation. What's up everybody, Cyler right here. Today we're diving into the kind of story that makes me genuinely happy to cover gaming, because for every soulless executive squeezing your wallet like a stress ball, there's some absolute legend out there saying, I'm going to quit the most prestigious gaming studio on the planet to make the weirdest, most niche little gem you've ever seen. His name is Oren Koren. His game is called Don't Lose Aggro, and before you click off because the title sounds like a fortune cookie warning, hear me out. This thing might be one of the most quietly brilliant indie releases of the year. So let's get into it. So who is this maniac? Oren Koren is a software veteran who, like most of us, used the pandemic to either learn sourdough or have a complete existential breakdown about what he was doing with his life. He chose option C, which is, I will now make video games. He started tinkering with Unity, dove headfirst into game dev, and as every single new dev does in the history of forever, immediately tried to make an enormous open world RPG. Yes, of course. Mount Everest as your starter quest. That always works out beautifully. Spoiler, it did not. He scaled down, made smaller projects, eventually got hired at Rockstar's Scottish studio, working on what? Wouldn't you like to know? He literally can't say. There's a non-disclosure agreement so thick you could use it as a bulletproof vest. But the timeline tells the story. He left about 2 years ago, smack in the middle of GTA 6 fever. While everybody else on planet Earth was selling pieces of their soul to stay on that project, this man looked at the world, looked at his contract, looked at the entire gaming industry and said, I'm out. Cold, clean, done. Now, what did he leave Rockstar to build? A roguelike about tanking in an MMO, except it's single player and the MMO doesn't exist. So basically, you fight bosses while a group of NPCs stand behind you, pretending to be the worst raid team you've ever had. Your job is to keep them alive while they do their little NPC business. And the genius part, the part that made me physically applaud at my desk like a Roman emperor, is that if your NPC teammates take too much damage, they get mad at you. They get angry, just like a real raid. The NPCs are programmed to be petty. I've been begging the gaming industry for this technology for 15 years. Okay, let me get serious for a second because there is something really thoughtful happening here. If you've ever genuinely played an MMO, not the kind where you logged in once on a free trial and got lost in the starting zone, but actually played one, you know the tank shortage is real. It is biblical. You can log into any modern MMO and watch DPS players sit in queue for 45 minutes waiting for one tank to show up. One. Tanks are the most important role in group content and nobody wants to do it. Why? Because tanking is the most stressful job in all of gaming. You are the leader by default, you make the calls, you pull the pack, you stand in the front, and if anything goes wrong, anything at all, it's your fault. DPS gets to type lol in chat, healers get to blame the tank gets to absorb everyone's frustration along with all the boss damage. It is emotional labor with extra steps. So when this guy says he wanted to make a game that solves a problem, and the problem he identified is the world doesn't have enough tanks, I felt that spiritually. He played MMOs for 20 years, World of Warcraft, Guild Wars, Archage. He's been there, he's done it. He's watched a DPS pull aggro and look at him like he was the one who messed up. Instead of writing yet another Reddit post about how nobody wants to tank anymore, he made an entire game about it. That's not a take, that's not a hot tweet, that's 6 years of his life. Respect. And what is wild is that he says the closest thing in single player gaming to actual MMO tanking is Dragon's Dogma, which, fair. If you've played the warrior class in that game, you know that feeling of being a slow-moving rock that absorbs damage while your pawns flail wildly nearby. That is the tank experience condensed into one character class. The only difference is, in Dragon's Dogma, the pawns won't passive-aggressively tell you you're bad. In Don't Lose Aggro, your NPC party will literally get angry at you. We have come full circle. We now have technology that simulates the social anxiety of pugging Mythic Plus, and we are shipping it as a feature. Beautiful. The dev's tank advice is also incredible. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, come in expecting to not be important, which might be the funniest tank truth ever spoken. Because here's the thing about being a tank in MMOs. You are the most important member of the group, but if you say that out loud, people will hate you forever. You have to be the linchpin of the entire operation while also pretending you're not. It's like being the manager at a restaurant who also has to act humble in front of the cooks. You're the boss, but you can't act like the boss. Meanwhile, the DPS is doing parses of their own damage and shooting them in Discord. The healer is healing themselves first and pretending nobody noticed. And the tank is just standing there bleeding for everyone, holding the whole thing together with vibes and aggro. So let's talk about the food chain here. If the tank dies, the run is over. Game ends, lights out. If the DPS dies, the run just takes longer. If the healer dies, the tank dies, then everyone dies. You see how this works? The tank is load bearing. The tank is structural. The tank is the literal foundation of the entire group, and the gratitude they get for it is a TY and party chat, if you're lucky. If. And this is where the game gets philosophically interesting to me, because most games are about being the chosen one, the hero, the destined warrior, your Dural, your Master Chief. You're the guy. Don't Lose Aggro is about being the guy who keeps the heroes alive. It's about the unglamorous, thankless, structural work of holding aggression so other people can do their damage. That is the most working class gaming experience I have ever heard of. This man did not make a power fantasy, he made a labor fantasy. He made a video game about the dignity of getting hit so your friends don't have to. That is some deep Eastern philosophy stuff right there. There's a reason monks tank in real life. Wait, that's not true. I made that up, but it could be. Probably is somewhere, and people love it. The game launched at 89% positive reviews on Steam. For a solo dev who left a major studio to bet on himself, that is a knockout. 89% is the kind of number that AAA studios would commit unspeakable acts to put on a billboard, and he did it alone in his house after 6 years of grinding it out. While the rest of the industry is laying off hundreds of people, slashing the middle tier, and force-feeding us microtransactions like we're a goose being prepped for foie gras, this one guy made one good game that solves one specific problem, and the audience showed up for it. That is the model. That is the dream. That is what indie is supposed to mean. Now, let me be a hater for a quick second, because this video is a celebration, but I also want to be honest with you. The reason this story is so striking is because it's rare. For every Oren Koren who quits, gets 6 years to grind on his project and lands a hit, there are hundreds of devs who burned out at AAA, tried to go indie, ran out of savings, and ended up writing inventory software for a logistics startup that sells shoe insoles. Indie dev is brutal. It's one of the hardest careers on planet Earth. The man himself said this was the hardest thing he's ever done in his entire life. So when we cheer for these stories, we need to remember they are the exception, not the rule. The gaming industry treats developers like fuel. It burns them, it tosses them, and then it acts surprised when nobody wants to make games anymore. We've got to stop doing that. But hey, today we're celebrating because Don't Lose Aggro exists, a weird, niche, deeply thoughtful little game about being the human punching bag for an imaginary raid group exists in this universe. And the more I think about it, the more I realize this might actually be the future of gaming for the people who genuinely love games. Not the bloated open worlds, not the live service grind, not the seasonal battle passes that expire if you take a vacation. Just one weird dev with one specific obsession, making one specific thing for the people who get it. That used to be the entire industry. Now it's a rebellion, and I'm here for it. Anyway, if this hit me back. Smash that subscribe button. If you haven't, drop a comment, let me know what role you made in MMOs, because I need to know who I'm rolling with on this channel. And if you're a tank, bless you. You are the load-bearing pillar of every group activity in human history. We do not deserve you. I'll catch you in the next one. Stay weird out there. Kyler Ray,